As sometimes happens with clergy, I found myself this week speaking to a colleague, thinking about the gospel to come, today's gospel, and we were pretty naughty. We said, what if the reader misspoke and said, is it lawful for the emperor to pay taxes or not? The prohibition against a state-established religion and the guarantee of our free exercise in the choice and practice of religion is one of the bright stars of our democracy. Today, Jesus is speaking to all people who want true freedom, whether living in a democracy or under a brutal occupation as Rome imposed on the people of Jesus' time, to invite them into manifesting the divine gifts of justice and generativity, of liberation and mercy, of service and joy wherever they are in whatever society. This coin that was produced at Jesus' request shows the emperor. And Jesus said, whose face and whose title is on it, whose image? And it was pretty well defined by the propaganda corps of the emperor. The emperor's face and then titles: the divine Son, the Savior. In our story, the divine image and title are in our hearts. In that story, the coin, the tax that was paid with the coin, and the census that prepared for the tax were all part of a domineering and extraction system that did not serve the subjects well. In our culture, we're discussing also taxes and census, whose purpose are allegedly for the distribution and sharing of society's benefits fairly. That coin with its image of the emperor and the title of Savior and divine Son is a kind of idolatry that goes against the divine image we carry in us. Our story tells us exactly where that's minted and printed for eternity. What is humankind that you care for us, that you keep us in mind, yet you have made us little lower than the angels? Or Jesus speaking, I call you friends. Or the divine voice speaking of Jesus and those of us who follow him, you are my beloved, and I take delight in you. In our story, Jesus dodges the childish and insincere gotcha question by pretty much saying, you just do whatever you have to do with that coin and pay your taxes for that realm, because I am announcing and initiating a new realm, a new kingdom. And this is where a liberated heart will invest and give allegiance. A richer realm, a kingdom of justice, mercy, service, and reconciliation. We're invited in that kingdom to join in the divine celebration of and liberation of human hearts and lives. We're invited to spend ourselves as we pay forward all that is life-giving and love-giving, all that cultivates creativity and connectivity. Our hearts, hands, minds, and voices reach outwards to bridge the chasms of privilege and excess, of exclusion and oppression. And positively, we embrace and embody all that will welcome and nourish, all that will heal and encourage. Now, how are these joyous and generative values discovered and uncovered in us? Look at Moses. With his people out of slavery, out of Egypt, but not quite yet home free. Wandering in the wilderness, Moses asks God for a bit more reassurance, a bit more of divine guidance. In fact, Moses says, I would like you to go out on stage and announce me. I would like you to, and God says, here it is. God puts Moses in the cleft of a rock. And then God's majesty passes by in a whoosh. And Moses can feel goosebumps. And then from that cleft of a rock, Moses is still able to look out on the wilderness of despair and death, but not be discouraged. He and we enjoy a moment of refuge from that kind of death. He and we are insulated as well from an egocentric desire to control and demand just exactly how God will answer our need. Here we crouch with Moses, half protected and half exposed, and feel God around us somehow and get just a glimpse, not a full-on view, and yet still recognize the divine as good and holy, as protective and healing, God with us. Where and how does it happen now? If we're alert and ready and lucky, we'll find it in an unplanned moment with someone we love and care about. We might find it when we're alone, looking out into the sky at sunset or dawn or at midnight. Or we might find it in joyous dance and the sacred geometry of music. Or we might even find it here in the company of other seekers. All these let our heart's fearful pounding calm itself and then reset and quicken again toward wonder. And a school can be such a place, a kind of cleft in the unyieldingly rocky terrain we face together on this planet, in these times, in this nation, here in our neighborhood, here in our nightmares and fears. A school can expose lives one to another for both sharing and delighting in marvel and challenge. The Cathedral School for Boys is nestled in the embrace of Grace Cathedral and has been since its birth. And it shares in the cathedral's celebration of the divine imprint in our world. The Christian mystics say that every healthy relationship or household is a school of love, a training ground, a place of celebration with all the mystery, clarity, sacrifice, and delight that true love can bring. At Cathedral School for Boys, there are a gazillion instances that spring to mind of this love made manifest. One is the leadership, which is calm and ordered in order to allow a creative and exciting strength and energy to emerge in the community. There are the parents and families of the students who manage to be fully involved without interfering in this shared enterprise of a village raising its youth in competence and confidence and character. The school has a pretty amazing faculty. They astound at every turn. We have math and science teachers who are also life coaches and delight in students approaching and tackling whatever life throws them in every part of their life. I'm amazed that we have coaches and physical education teachers who take time to meditate with the students before or after a vigorous workout. And we have the students themselves who have been encouraged and encourage one another to care for each other, to look out for each other, to rejoice in each other's successes, to give a nudge or an encouraging word, or to help out when there's an issue. And this church, too, is a school, and I must say that school can't wait to come back into this building and enjoy it as the Grace Cathedral congregation hopes to enjoy it soon. This, too, is a place where we can spend our heart's desire in a realm that will reward us, will challenge us, and will work toward the healing of the world with justice and mercy. Here we offer the coinage of our heart's desires, our heart's needs, and our heart's hopes. And we ask God to return to us in the form God wishes: protection, encouragement, new life, and vitality. Here we give thanks and praise for all that is. And here we pledge to be the force in the world which will enable the divine imprint to emerge in every human heart and every human community.